On January 11th, I met David Stanley, Elvis's stepbrother. The conversation lasted about 10 minutes. Here's the story. So this is where the adventure really begins. They told me I can check up at the desk and see what somebody can do for me. I walk up to the desk and start talking to this lady, tell her I'm an Elvis fan and want to be able to see the showroom. She says, let me make a call. She tells me that the one manager that's there right now says they're too busy and they might be able to let me see it in about 4 hours at 2 p.m. And I'm thinking, I don't want to wait around here for 4 hours. So just then, one of the guys that I was talking to maybe 10 minutes earlier, he says, you know what? I think Elvis' stepbrother's here. Do you want to meet him? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right, come with me. So he takes me back to the place I was at originally, down the hallway with the Muhammad Ali picture. He goes up and says, I'm taking this guy through to David Stanley. Now, originally, this is only for people who own a timeshare there. So you only can get through there if it's paid. So they tell me to wait by that sign, and they go up to David, which I can't see. I don't know which brother it is, really. And they ask him, can this guy come see you? Then they motion me that I can come ahead. So I go over, turn the corner, and see David. Now, some of you guys have asked me, did you tell them that, you got that Elvis channel? And no, I didn't, for a few reasons. One, it kind of sounds like you're bragging, and why would he really care anyway? Two, it's not like I'm going to ask him for an interview right on the spot. So, but it's funny, like when he first looked at me, I'm like, oh, this guy recognizes me. But I just asked him regular questions, and he started telling me about Elvis. So I'm like, let me just experience this. So right when I got done with this whole experience, I automatically just went to my notes and just audio recorded everything that happened. So I'm going to read it off to you as I wrote it. So I just kind of started with, I didn't really know what to say at first. This happened within 3 minutes. So I was just like, So I told him there's probably a bunch of things that I could think of to ask him once I leave. But, I appreciate him answering my questions. And he gave me a few signed pictures, told me one was from 1976 and one was from 1972. I told him that I saw that picture that he has as a cover as his book. And I almost bought it, but now I will. And he said, oh, thank you. And he's a lot bigger than what I remember or what I imagined, bigger in size, bigger framed. He said, I asked, was Elvis as handsome in person as he was in pictures? And he said that he was more handsome. And I'm just thinking of random stuff to ask him. He said that Elvis was just a regular guy, and I asked him what he missed the most about Elvis, and he said everything. He says that he misses Elvis, and he would just be sitting down watching sports, having a pizza or something. But he said he misses everything. He said Elvis was very charismatic. If he came into a room, you knew it. To him as a kid, Elvis was just Elvis, he was telling me. And I'm sitting here right across from that little table just talking to him. He said the Beatles came over and everything was normal. He was just a fan of that music in the 60s, the Beatles music, not really Elvis music. He said Elvis was just a regular guy to him. He didn't really realize how big he was until opening night in Las Vegas, 1969. And I was like, you were there? He said Elvis walked out on stage and people went crazy. He said Elvis's magnetism was insane. His first tour with Elvis was in June 1972 at Madison Square Garden, and there's some footage of that. He said that his charisma was crazy. He couldn't relate him to anybody, so it's hard for him to compare. He said Elvis also sang at home a lot. He said he would hear music playing from the music room, and he would go out there, and Elvis would just be playing piano, singing gospel songs by himself in the music room. He said that he first heard Elvis start to work Unchained Melody out on the piano in the mid-70s, so I'm guessing 75. I didn't really ask the year. He said he never heard him sing it. He never heard Elvis sing it before, but after about 20 minutes of Elvis working it out on the piano, he was just blown away. He finally got it down. So then, I'm thinking, I asked him, I'm like, does it feel at home here in Vegas and at the Westgate International? Because, you were here with Elvis so much in the 70s. And he said, yeah. He said he'll look at a billboard and remember Elvis's name being there. He says he stays right now on, I think he said, the 29th floor. The Westgate offered him a job. He says he lives in the suite the last couple of years. So I'm just listening, enjoying this. But, like I said earlier, if I knew I was going to be meeting him, I'd probably think of some really interesting stuff to say. But I was sort of like put on the spot. He was just like right there. It was so unplanned. So when I kind of could tell the conversation was wrapping up, I asked him if I could get a picture. He said, yeah. He looked around like he was going to see if he could get somebody, but I just went to the nearest person, and they were happy to do it. So David was a very nice guy. I just got a good vibe off him. I pulled out some money I had in my pocket, and I wanted to give him a $100 bill just like to say thank you and just, be nice to him. But he was like, no, I can't take it. Like almost like he wasn't allowed to, I was thinking. So I said, oh, you're not allowed? Like thinking, by contract he's not allowed or something. And he said, no, it's just that Elvis had done so much for me and that he couldn't take it. So I said, okay, sorry, no disrespect. Just wanted to give you something. And we shook hands one more time. And he told me not to forget the little signed pictures he gave me. And I, of course I wouldn't. I grabbed them. And then we just, smiled and started to walk away. Oh, also, one more thing. He did say that Austin did a great job in the movie, but there's only one Elvis, and it's too hard to be an Elvis impersonator. You can't imitate Elvis or pull it off at all. And I said, yeah, I know. Austin did a great job. He didn't come off as an impersonator. He just was a tribute.